of Zamfara State. Court grants former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele's application to engage forensic experts during trial. Resident doctors in the Federal Capital Territory declare indefinite strike over failure to address their demands. On the foreign scene, Ghana says decision to take deportees not an endorsement of U.S. President Donald Trump's policy. Good evening, this is News at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Okpayamuni. No fewer than 40 worshippers were kidnapped from a mosque located in Gidan Torbay village, South Local Government area of Zamfara State earlier today. The development, according to critical stakeholders, signaled the collapse of the peace deal both Katsina and Zamfara states had with the bandits terrorizing the northwest. Community leaders and bandits in Kurufi Local Government area of Katsina State on August 28, 2025, signed a peace agreement. They subsequently released captives and allowed farmers to return to their lands without fear. However, less than a month after the deal was signed, it was gathered that the bandits struck again in Zamfara, where they whisked away dozens of worshippers. The Zamfara State Police said the command received a distress call from a divisional police officer in Bukuyun and said security personnel were immediately deployed to the area. The Plateau State Emergency Management Agency on Monday visited and commiserated with victims of attacks in the 11 communities of Kwan Pan Local Government area of Plateau, with SEMA delegation led by the Executive Secretary, Sunday Abdu, also donated an additional assortment of food and non-food items to the internally displaced persons taking refuge in IDP camps. It will be recalled that the attacks resulted in the loss of lives, destruction of properties, and displacement of many of the inhabitants from their ancestral homes. Abdul condemned the attacks in the strongest terms, describing them as heinous and calamitous, and prayed for lasting peace in Kwan Pan. The Executive Secretary said that the visit and donation of additional relief materials were directed by Governor Caleb Muftwang to bring succor to the affected persons. To legal matters, Justice Musa Liman of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has sent back to the Chief Judge a motion filed by the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, for reassignment. Mr. Kanu, in the motion ex parte, is seeking an order of the court transferring him to the National Hospital, Abuja, for urgent medical attention. In a short ruling, Justice Liman ordered the transfer of the case file back to the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court following an application by Mr. Kanu's counsel, Uchenna Unjoku, considering the fact that the annual vacation of the court will end today. Had resumed the hearing earlier, the judge hinted that there was no time for the vacation court to decide Mr. Kanu's motion. Justice Liman consequently ordered that the case file be referred to the registry for reassignment. The Special Offences Division of the Lagos High Court in Abuja has granted the application of former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele to engage forensic experts to examine WhatsApp conversations and a mobile device marked iPhone 2 that were tendered as evidence in his ongoing trial. Justice Rahman Oshudi, in his ruling, held that the defendant had the right to conduct an independent forensic review provided safeguards were in place to protect the integrity of the evidence. He ordered that the inspection of the evidence be conducted in the presence of representatives of all parties in the case, with each party allowed no more than one lawyer and one forensic expert. Mr. Emefiele, who is facing a 19-count charge alongside co-defendant Henry Omoile, is accused of abuse of office, receiving gratification, accepting gifts through agents, corruption, and fraudulent property transactions involving $4.6 billion and $2.8 billion. Moving on, the Nigerian government has been urged to amend the constitution to recognize traditional rulers and also incorporate the traditional institution as a way of progressing the society. This was the point of discourse at the anniversary lecture commemorating 15 years of Obajimo Olanilekan Laroye II, the Ataoja of Oshoboland, on the throne. Lydia Adegbaju completes the story.
The clamor for the incorporation of traditional rulers into the constitution intensified with a lecture today. At the lecture marking 15 years that the Ataoja of Osogbo, Oba Jimoh Olanipekun Laroye II, ascended the throne, Mr. Kunle Adegoke, SAN, the guest lecturer, hammered on the importance of traditional rulers, also recalling their instrumentality during pre-colonial rule.
Easier for them. The coming of the Europeans changed everything in the north and the west. The British found it relatively easy to govern through indirect rule, keeping the old traditional structures in place, but stripping them of much of their real powers. It was a system that allowed the colonial masters to control vast and diverse regions without too much risk. So from being rulers of empires and kingdoms, traditional leaders were transformed into constitutional figures, still influential, but now carefully slotted into a system designed in London for efficiency, order, and of course, colonial convenience.
Highlighting the many challenges bedeviling Nigeria, the senior advocate strongly condemned the complete exclusion of traditional rulers from the constitution, saying they have and continue to serve as core mobilizing agents, especially at the grassroots.
Exception. More so with respect to the challenges that we are confronting, it becomes highly imperative and obligatory for the government to ensure that roles are given to our traditional rulers. They have been playing certain roles, albeit informally, so it becomes now necessary to accord them the recognition, which will enable them to be able to render greater services to our society. And we believe that with that, our country will be able to achieve greater peace than what we have right now. And equally, we need to amend the constitution to give them such roles that will make them to be able to have greater impacts in the lives of the people upon whom they are.
He also described traditional rulers as stabilizers in the society, upholding the continued existence of culture and language. Substantiating some of this impact, the Vice-Chancellor of Osun State University, Professor Odunwayo Clement Adeboye, earlier in his opening remarks, recounted the sacrifice of Oba Olanipekun in the construction of the Alakija Research and Training Hospital.
Medical Research and Training Hospital. 30 hectares university.
Thankful that the lecture was a success despite all odds, the honoree Oba Jimoh Olanipekun commended the guest lecturer for his insights. He, however, clarified earlier controversy about a hierarchy tussle of the Ataoja stool in Osun State.
Bàbá mi kábíyèsí yọlọ Oyèwálé mọ́tàn mi kẹta. Wọ́n lọ sí ìlú òyìnbó kí wọ́n tó dé, wọ́n dẹ̀ gbé àga wọn sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kan, wọ́n sì gbé Olúwo síbẹ̀. Olúwo sì wà nípò kẹrin nu, Àtaọ́jà ló ní ipò kẹrin rẹ̀ tí mo dé bá. Ní tí mo lè fáwọn ìwé ìròyìn ni pé wọ́n ní mo ní ipò kẹrin ló ń bá wa. Mo pé ipò kẹrin ní aṣáájú mi wà, àga rẹ̀ mo jókòó, ipò kẹrin náà mo wà bí wọ́n ṣe jí mọ́ lọ́nu. Àtìgbà náà mo wà silent lórí ẹ̀ tí mi tí mo nà àbáyọ. Mo dẹ̀ gbégbèsè lábẹ́lẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n bàbá ti wù ká dáná tó ìfin rẹ̀ ọ̀bọ̀ ọ̀tà. Báwọn bá kankan já o ṣùgbọ́n àga Àtaọ́jà ipò kẹrin lọ́sùn. Èyí tí wọ́n sì ń fi ẹ̀yẹ níwèé ìròyìn tó dé tí wọ́n fẹ́ mọ̀ kàwé pé ọba kan dádé ṣáájú ọba kan. Gbadéwọ̀lú Láròyé àkọ́kọ́.
While speaking separately in an interview, Professor Adeboye also highlighted the importance of integrating traditional rulers, especially as regards communications at the grassroots.
Traditional institution has a way of relating with the people, of coordinating with the people, of partnering and of networking with the people. And the people that we are talking about, who are causing the problems, have a way of understanding the language of the cultural authority. So if the cultural authority is strengthened, the wave and the spate of insecurity will go down because there will be communication. Because we know from philosophy that when communication breaks down, confusion sets in.
Concluding the lecture, it is hoped that the ongoing constitutional reform would recognize traditional rulers and that the institution would be adopted for alternative conflict resolution. Also present at the anniversary lecture include the Asiwaju of Osogbo Land, Honorable Justice Moshood Adeigbe retired, Registrar Osun State University, Dr. Mrs. Oguntunde, the Bales and Iyalojas, among many others. Lydia Adegbaju, Western Spring Television News.
In other news, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says it arrested an Indian businessman, Gupta Ravi Kumar, alongside 3 accomplices, Ogulano Olanrewaju Olushola Kayode and Bakari Muhib, in connection with over 3.9 billion naira worth of tramadol. The drugs were intercepted at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos State, in its nationwide crackdown on illicit drugs. According to the NDLEA spokesperson, Femi Babafemi, the illicit drugs were imported from India under the guise of multivitamins before operatives streamed in on a clearing agent and 2 drivers who were attempting to move the shipment out of the airport in 2 trucks. On Thursday, September 11, following the interception, Babafemi noted that the follow-up operation on Friday led to the arrest of Gupta while trying to take delivery of the consignment. Resident doctors in the Federal Capital Territory have declared an indefinite strike beginning from today over what they described as the authorities' failure to address their demands. The association revealed that in a statement by the General Secretary, Association of Resident Doctors, FCTA, Agbo Afyong, the doctors vowed to continue the action until government and management show genuine commitment to the welfare of doctors and the health of FCT residents. Last week, the ARD-FCTA embarked on a 7-day warning strike to press home its demands for better working conditions and the non-payment of entitlements. The palace of the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Bimbola Akim Owade, has debunked reports claiming that a new chief imam has been appointed for the ancient town. Director of Media and Publicity to the monarch, Bodidro Jaye, in a statement issued in Ibadan, Oyo State, described the reports as false and misleading. He explained that the process of selecting a new chief imam was still ongoing, stressing that consultations were being carried out to ensure fairness. Durojaye further maintained that the appointment of a chief imam remained the exclusive reserve of the Alaafin. The previous chief imam of Oyo, Sheikh Mashood Ajokidero, passed away in late January 2023. Talking politics ahead of the 2027 general polls, former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi has met with the Olubadan designate Rashidi Ladoja in Oyo State. Mr. Obi, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, also visited former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Accompanying him on the visit were the spokesman of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, Yunusa Tanko, the Labour Party's 2023 Lagos governorship candidate, Gbadebo Rotviva, and Segun Adebanjo. Briefing journalist Mr. Obi said his visit was to pay homage to the Olubadan designate due to the strategic and central nature of the city to the political, social, and economic development of Nigeria. You are watching News at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come, Akwa Ibom State Police Command apprehend 3 suspected